And I am 19 years old.
One more time.
Hi, my name is Diamond Shelley and I am 19 years old.
Thank you.
I am a Black American hailing from the Windy City, Chicago. Chi-Town, as it's more locally known as, and it houses many Black Americans, 769,381 to be exact. These are people whose grandparents and great-grandparents moved north to escape racial prejudice. So back in the 1920s and 30s, there was this huge wave of migration, the greatest it's ever been amongst Black Americans, from the south to the north. And this was during Reconstruction. KKK was in full effect, and these people had to go. So a lot of them went to up north to many Midwestern cities that have large African American populations today, such as Chicago, Detroit. What's the other cities they moved to? I believe Chicago, Detroit is like the biggest one off the top of my head. Decatur, Milwaukee, and many small towns that aren't as notable. We moved up there during construction. Chicago has contributed much to modern American culture, such as house music, which is what I'm about to play today. It's very popular. And much of our modern language is used in music. So AAVE, African American Vernacular of English, which is an extension of English, formerly used by African Americans. Now, why must this be specified? Why does this be its own distinct category? Because they didn't teach the slaves English. In fact, it was against the law to teach the slaves English. The slaves had to figure out their own version of English, which led to this offshoot in the English language that we see today. Now, you might hear it on the news as TikTok language. It's not TikTok language, all right? It's just Black people English, and we use a lot of it, and it's been incorporated into our music today. Black Chicago is very important to American pop culture, and in this speech, I'll explain exactly why. Chicago is of personal significance to me as a native and a house music lover. Born in the Chi in 2004 in Parkway Gardens, which is famously known as O Block, and as a descendant of the Great Migration, I think I'm very qualified to talk about the birthplace of house, which incorporates classic Chicago diction, which originated in the South. Examples include the omission of the G from the ending of verbs, such as running becomes running, swimming becomes swinning, so on and so forth, as well as the sound of verbs and the substitution of certain sounds for others, like TH becomes D, like that turns into that, or the omission of the R sound, so car becomes ka. Put it in the ka. Yeah. Even it's kind of similar to a Boston accent, but if you've ever heard a Boston accent, that is very exaggerated, very obvious. Whereas in Chicago's, it's very much easier. You know what? Let's move on. How can I, as any old regular American, center Chicago? What would I know about its connection to music and current language? Well, as a third-gen Chicago native, I grew up on house. It originated in the 70s and 80s by Black and queer DJs of an inclusive space to create an inclusive space to historically excluded people. House is defined as a type of electronic music with a heavy, steady beat. Now, we're going to discuss DJ Chipman, one of the famous DJs to ever make it out of America, ever make it out of Chicago. He's very iconic, and he's one of Chicago's most foremost and iconic DJs. Speaking of heavy beat, we have Juke Dat by DJ Chipman. I shall play you a snippet. Heavy, steady beat. You're going to hear this a lot on a lot of Chicago beats.
Now shake, now bounce, now pop, now drop, now twerk, now work, now come on y'all, let's do.
And that's just the snippet. See, it's very repetitive. Heavy beat, steady beat. This is a very Chicago beat. I'm feeling it already. Thank you. As you can see, that's just one example. But you might have heard a more famous example, Wu-Tang With It, has a whole dance. Currently going viral on TikTok right now because Gen Z is taking a hold of it. And now it's no longer the Wu-Tang dance we all know and love. It's some other mess. But you know, it's all right. Wu-Tang With It by DJ Chipman. The banana. Because guess what? They also created Peanut Butter Jelly Time. Actually, I don't think that was him. I believe he featured. Very Chicago, very Detroit, very Midwestern. He is nicknamed the Godfather of House Music. As you can see, because beats like this created genres later in time, such as modern Chicago drill rap, which I cannot give an example of because it's just too inappropriate. Alright, in conclusion, Black Chicago has a lasting impact on music and language. My experience growing up is just an example of how deeply the interest runs. Chicago is not just surviving, it's innovating, influencing, and surviving. And this is how my piece of culture is relevant to me and everyone else, and its distinctiveness. This has been Alicia Shelley. Thank you.